All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video we'll be talking about productivity and the average supply curve or aggregate supply curve. Okay, so when it comes to productivity, let me write this down. Your productivity has to do with, okay, maximum production with the same amount of labor. Okay, so maximum production, okay, with the same amount of labor. Okay, so same amount of labor. And the way this works is as you have more efficient machineries, okay, as the number of machineries that are efficient grows, as the capacity of those machines grows, okay, as the capacity of the machinery in the factory, for example, grows, okay, as the capacity and the productivity of workers or labor grows, okay, the productivity in general will grow. So as efficiency grows, productivity will grow as well. All right, and this could also be because of things such as management skills. Okay, so good management. Okay, it could be because of availability of raw materials. It could be because of availability of resources, minerals, your input of production. Okay, it could be because of multiple other factors such as labor unions, okay, which help the workers to stay longer with the same employer, okay, leading to high productivity because of highly trained employees, for example. Okay, yeah, and then you can also have high productivity because of benefits. Okay, as you offer these workers more benefits, say group benefits, okay, then it's possible that the workers will work harder, okay, to make sure that they earn a certain amount of salary, okay, or a certain amount of money every month. All right. So as the productivity grows, what's going to end up happening is going to impact your short range average supply curve and your long range average supply curve. So you have SRAS and your LRAS. Okay, so suppose this is your SRAS over here. Okay, and this is S0. Okay, what's going to end up happening is, okay, this supply curve, okay, will shift to the right, okay, as the productivity grows. So this will become SRES or S1. Okay, and it keeps shifting to the right as long as the productivity grows. Okay, so it keeps shifting to the right as long as the productivity grows. So this becomes your S2. All right, so when we talk about productivity, okay, you also have your long range average supply curve. And this is the potential GDP within a country. And this has to do with, okay, your productivity as well. Okay, so suppose this is your long range average supply curve, LRAS. And we know that this short range average supply curve at some point will meet your long range average supply curve. Okay, and when it does, okay, the company or the business reaches its full potential. Okay, which basically means that they're operating at maximum capacity, for example. Okay, whether it has to do with the capacity of their machinery in their company, whether it has to do with the capacity of labor or workers, whether it has to do with other things such as management. Okay, so the company over here is operating at full capacity, as a result of which you have your potential GDP, which represents this vertical line over here, your long range average supply curve. Now, as the productivity grows, what's going to end up happening is, okay, suppose this is your price level and this is your real GDP. Okay, your price level will go down. Your price level will be reduced. Okay, and your real GDP, suppose this is this point over here, becomes your new equilibrium. Okay, and this was another equilibrium over here. Okay, this is where supply meets your aggregate demand. So let's say this is your aggregate demand. This is your aggregate demand. This is your aggregate demand. Okay, so as supply meets aggregate demand at equilibrium, as productivity grows, the new aggregate demand basically means that you have higher real GDP and a lower price level. So at this level, the price is low. And again, price level has to do with the price level of basket of goods. And we talked about the basket of goods. It has to do with the total goods and services within a nation, within an economy. All right. So as the productivity goes up, okay, the supply curve will shift to the right, and the supplier will be able to produce more, okay, and sell for a lower price. Okay, because we know that as the price goes down, the demand goes up. All right. So the producer is able to sell for a lower price. And this is your new equilibrium. Now, at some point, okay, the short range average supply curve reaches your long range average supply curve. However, okay, we know that was, suppose this is your S0. This is where you start off. Okay. And let's say the supply curve over here intersects, okay, the long range supply curve at point 8. All right, now if the same supply curve was to shift to the right and become S1, it will intersect another long range supply curve, LRAS, at point B. So this becomes your point B. And then you have point C, okay, point D, so on and so forth. So the idea, okay, the foundation, the concept, as far as the supply and long range average supply curve is concerned, okay, as the supply curve shifts to the right, it leads to higher potential GDP, which means the nation is able to produce more because of productivity. So, in layman terms, okay, what's going to happen is as your productivity goes up, okay, your short range average supply curve will go up. So, SRAS will go up. And as SRAS goes up, okay, as SRAS goes up, your long range average supply curve, LRAS, will go up as well. And this has to do with your potential GDP, which basically means that the nation is able to produce more, and their capacity to produce more goes up. Okay, which means their capability and capacity to produce something, whether it has to do with consumer goods or otherwise, this goes up. And as this happens, we also know that the price levels go down. Okay, so price levels go down because the short range average supply curve shifts to the right. Okay, and the quantity goes up. So in real world basically means that the supplier is able to and willing to sell more at a lower price. All right, so that's it for this video. On behalf of Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.